Welcome back. We are coming to you live on WFNC 640 AM. We are talking real estate with Team Harris, and I am your host today, Wendy Harris, Team Harris Real Estate. Last week, we got to have a little bit of fun on the radio show. We took it a little bit lightheartedly. Today is a bit more serious. We are talking about an issue that is very, very important. Everyone who hears about this should be getting a little bit upset about it. I'm certainly upset about it because, number one, it hurts the homeowner. It hurts the homeowner. I don't like the general public being taken advantage of. Number two, it makes us as an industry look really bad. Don't like it because don't like people who make us look bad. Okay, because real estate and realtors, when they do their jobs well and they do their jobs right, we are extremely vital for this industry and for the consumer out there. We do really great work, not only for the consumer, but for our communities. We are engaged and we are involved. We are the connector of many things. And so I really, truly love my industry. And because I love my industry so much, I really, really don't like it when people do things that harm home ownership, homeowners, and our professionalism. I do not like it at all. Just because there is not a law against something does not mean you should do it. It may mean legally you can without ending up in prison, but it doesn't mean you should do it. So we've probably got some new laws coming forward in the state of North Carolina, I imagine. And if no one's working on this, they need to jump all over it. But I understand from some little birdies, there are some people working on it, but everybody needs to get on this. But primarily for all of you listening out here, be aware that this not illegal yet scam is happening in the state of North Carolina. Okay. And what this is about a company out of Florida. Okay. They opened in North Carolina, so they are a North Carolina company as well. Okay, but all the people are down, when you look them up on the Secretary of State's website, all the people who are responsible are down in the state of Florida, right? They opened in North Carolina, July of 2020, okay? This firm set up here in July of 2020. They opened up a real estate office up in the Raleigh area, and they are going around the state and they are signing what basically, I'm having to call it this because just for it to make sense to people, it's basically you are selling futures on your house. The futures that you're selling are the listing futures. Okay, so it's a little bit like signing a 40-year listing agreement. Kind of, not quite. You're actually selling the rights to that listing agreement. Okay, this is not just something where you can call and cancel it. This is an actual memorandum that gets recorded down at the courthouse in the county where the house sits. These are recorded all over the state of North Carolina. The reason I was able to look them up and why a realtor colleague of mine was able to do a lot of this research over on the western part of the state is because they are recorded documents. They are public documents. And these are clouds on the title of every piece of real estate that they are recorded on. And the agreements are really short, people. They're a page long. They are not long at all, okay? And what they say is that, that right here, this agreement began on the effective date, the commencement date, and expires the earlier of the date the property is sold in accordance to the agreement, which is with the company that is named in this agreement, and the date that is 40 years after the commencement date. Okay, so for whatever nominal fee you might be getting as a homeowner, $250, $500, $1,000. Okay, whatever they're going to pay you, I hope they're paying something, but whatever they're going to pay you, you are saying, if I sell my house in the next 40 years, and not just me, okay, this house is sold, and sold doesn't mean you put it on the market. Selling a house is a transfer of title. You can't give it away either. So don't make sure we understand this, right? If this house is sold in the next 40 years, You have to find this company and you have to list your property with this company. 40 years. 40 years. Okay. It's insane. It's insane. You cannot leave your house to your children. Okay. You can't gift it to a child. If you're a parent and you have a child, you can't transfer that deed over to a child to protect it as you age. Can't do that. Can't sell it for a nominal fee to a family member. Can't do any of that. Can't decide to sell it to a neighbor. You can't gift it to a nonprofit. You can't. And if this company goes out of business, which is more likely than them being in business for 40 years or for 38 more years, or it's 40 years from when you sign, right? 40 years from when you sign. If they go out of business, there's no one left. There is no one left to clear this title off, this cloud off of your title. No one left to do it. So have fun hiring attorneys and paying all those fees to straighten that out. There are already attorneys being hired across the state, but we're going to look at some numbers right now so that you can see what's happening. Okay. So these are, I want you to understand, these are all being done by one company. This is not a typical practice in real estate. In fact, the only reason it's happening is because I have never heard of it happening before, certainly not on this scale, but I'm not familiar with this ever happening before. It's one of those things where a law doesn't exist because no one thought you needed a law. In our business, we're supposed to work for the best benefit of the client, the consumer. We're not supposed to injure the public. Well, let's talk about potential injuries here. Let's talk about that, okay? Alamance County, there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these in Alamance County. There's 65 of them that have been done. 65. Most of the counties are really small, but let's talk about ones that are around a little bit closer to home. Brunswick, just a couple hours away, hour and a half away. 23 of them have been signed. Yep. Yep. We've got quite a few over in Kiribati County. 43 of those have been signed. Yeah. Harnett County has 24. 24 of these agreements have been signed in Harnett County. Now, two have been terminated. 2 have been terminated. So there's been some legal action and 2 of these have been terminated. Yeah. Not really sure what's going on with that. Right. Hope County, there have been 32 of them signed in Hope County. Lee County's got 9 of them. These stats may be a couple of months old. Okay. This is towards the end of last year when every county in the state was looked at. Okay. Moore County had 10. Robeson County. Yep. Robeson County had 38. Scotland County had 4. Yep. Yep, I told you Cumberland County was #1 in the state. There's some that have some higher numbers. Forsyth County has 140 of these agreements signed. 140. Yep. Doesn't even come close to Cumberland County. Doesn't even come close, but they're second. They're in a second place, not a close second. 104 of them, so Forsyth County. Yep. Cumberland County, right here in Cumberland County, 277 of these. 277 homeowners have been convinced that this was actually a good idea. 277 in Cumberland County alone. And in our marketplace, we're close to 500. Once you add up the counties in the area, we've got 38 in Robeson County, Scotland County's got a few, that's 40, 50, 60. There's 100 right there between those. Add Harnett, we've got 125, 300, 400, and another 30, 430, and this is the end of last year. So my guess is We could be approaching nearly 500 of these just in our one market area. Just in our one market area. Yeah. 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 It's a serious problem. It's a serious, serious problem, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, the things that people come up with, and their only question is not, does this truly benefit? Does this truly benefit the consumer? Does this truly benefit the people who are signing this? Or is it just a way for me to make money because I have to figure out how to do things in such a different way because I can't compete any other way? Can't compete any other way. I have no other value to bring other than removing the rights of homeowners to sell their properties for 40 years in the way they see fit. So keep in mind, the likelihood is that that company is not going to be around in 40 years. The agent that you met, that you had the relationship with, not going to be around in 40 years. Yeah. I mean, the owners of the company aren't even, here. They're all down in Florida. They're not invested in this state. The company is even out of Raleigh, the one that's here in North Carolina. They're certainly not invested in the success of Cumberland County. They're certainly not invested in the best interest of the homeowners of our area by having them sign away their rights to sell their property and do with their property as they truly see fit for a 40-year period of time. It's ridiculous. Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I can hear the wheels burning. Like, who would sign this agreement? Well, you know what? I could understand it if it were for, I don't know, $100,000, maybe. Your house might be worth that. Go ahead and sign it away. That is not what's happening. That's not what's happening. Even if you're thinking it, that's not what's happening. If you want to be forced to be an unintentional landlord, right? An unintentional landlord. This is a sure way to do it. Because once this cloud is on the title to your house, once this stays with the property, it is a cloud on the title. And guess what? You can't do with the title with the cloud on it. You can't transfer that title to another person. And a property being sold does not mean you got money. It doesn't mean necessarily that you sat down an attorney in a traditional way. It means that the title was transferred on the property. The title was transferred on the property. That's what happens when you sell it, right? The title gets transferred. Well, you can't do that with a cloud on the title. You can't do that. So that means, can you gift it to your children? No, that would be a title transfer. What happens if you leave it in your will? That's going to be a title transfer. What if you wanted to do a lease to own with a tenant who's been in your house for a lot of years? The single mom with the child who doesn't want to leave because she wants her children to grow up in that house, but it took her a long time to get her credit straight. And she's been renting from you for 10 years and you want her to be able to own the house. Can't do it. That's a title transfer. You're going to have to go find this company and hope to God they're still in business. And then pay them to list the property on the market, pay them not to list the property on the market, pay them to represent you in selling the house to, the tenant who you want to have the house. Takes away your rights. It's no secret that as broker owner of Team Harris Real Estate, I want to work with everyone who wants to sell or buy a house, who wants to work with my company, who sees a benefit of working with my company, who knows that we have the knowledge and the experience to represent their best interests, to advise them accordingly so that they can make the best decision for themselves and their family. That is not what you're getting here. That is not what you're getting here. And if you do, let's say within the next 40 years, you pass away. I mean, some people can be like, well, I don't care what happens to the house. I mean, I'm going to be dead, right? A few people out there may think that. But now your heirs can't do what they want with that house. They can't. They can't. Title's got to be transferred. Doesn't mean a family member can just move into it. It doesn't mean it can be left for that one niece or nephew. Even if you didn't have kids of your own, right? You can still keep things in the family somewhere, or even gift it to a nonprofit. You want to give a house to Habitat for Humanity? That's what you want to do with your property. You want to be that good Samaritan and make sure somebody somewhere gets a decent shot at building generational wealth for their family. Guess what? You can't do it. You can't do that if you sign this agreement. You can't. You've given up all those rights of home ownership. You've given them up for 40 years. 40 years. Can you tell my ire's up? My ire is up. Because all of this stinks like a rotten onion. A rotten onion. And the more you peel back the layers, it just gets more rotten. You're finding that core, right? Pretty on the outside, starts to stink as you take off the first layer, and it just gets worse as you go in because it's rotting from the inside out. That's how I feel about this, if anyone's wondering. Don't like it at all. And it bothers me. Every bit of it bothers me. And then it shocks me that Cumberland County is the #1 target, or the most gullible people, to sign these things. Either way, I'm just shocked. And my ire is up. I do not like it. Okay, we're going to go to a quick break. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to talk about maybe like what good can come out of this. I don't know. Let's see. Let's run through some possible options. I might have to get some experts on the phone in the future to talk about true outcomes. But we'll talk about some interesting things with it. We're coming to you live on WFNC 640 AM, and we are talking real estate with Team Harris. I'm your host, Wendy Harris, and we will be back.